I'm just waiting on a few people to arrive, and then we'll get started. Hi, Catherine. And Brandy, is that correct? Or Brittany? Hey, Linda. Hey, Sue. Hey, Neela. Oops, I didn't mean to drop that and bust your eardrums. Belinda Wiggins. I should be able to remember that. I have a cousin named Belinda. Has everybody got their signs prepped? Or are we just watching tonight? Hi, B. I'm glad you could join us. Welcome. We play little games called Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, and tonight is Project Friday, so we're going to be doing some projects tonight. While we're waiting on some people to get in here, because we are a few minutes early, I want to show you guys something. Let's see. Look what I got. The new patterned iron-on. I got it. It came in. I just got a couple of rolls just to try it out. You guys get to see me check these out. As always, I'll stick this in the end of my roll so I have instructions if I need them. Oh, I like the little thing they put on there instead of the tape. That's easier. This one, oops, I didn't even look. See, I need that already. Hey, Catherine. Other Catherine. We have two Catherines. One with a K, one with a C. It is. This one is the... Trying to figure out which one I ordered here. This must be... Okay, this is the Cricut one, I think. Yeah, because that's the Anna Griffin. Yep. This is the Cricut patterns. Oh, they did put tape on it too. Not just that band, but tape. No wonder I couldn't get in there. Let me... I hate to pull my tape on mine. There we go. And it says this is a strong bond. I have to research, guys. It says long lasting. So, I mean, it's very nice. It's kind of thin, thinner than your, but I mean, all the printed are, but this has like a coating on the top. I have to look at it. I don't know if this goes face up or face down yet, guys, but look at those patterns. Has anybody used any yet? I love that one. That was why I ordered this roll, was for that one. I'm going to be making some projects out of these this week too. But this is the Cricut In Bloom pink sampler, if you guys want that. And this one is the Anna Griffin one. So you know I have to open that up and take a look at it. Let's see, there we go. tape to release there. Ooh, these are pretty. This is the Anna Griffin. I like that basket weave too. And of course the flowers. I'm a sucker for flowers. This is the Francesca sampler. The Anna Griffin Francesca. Put my directions in there because I have not used this product and I will read those. And there's a thing in there for hanging, and that's new too. New packaging. Yeah, I'll do a couple of projects using this stuff, guys, so that you know how to use it. But yeah, this is the patterned iron-on, and I got a roll of the Strong Bond Sport Flex iron-on too. I've used Caesar Easy Weed before. It's called Stretch, and this is their version of that. So I know what that's about, but I wanted to order it and compare. And yes, I'm going to let you Natalie Malin fans see hers as well, because I love watercolor too with floral. So let's take a look at Natalie Malin's. I got the wrapping won't leave me. Hey, Kathy. This is the Aquamarine sampler, Natalie Malin. And they have a little, guys, when you get yours, it has one of these bands on there, like a plastic band, and I guess you could put that back on there if you want. But it's also taped, so just so you guys know. And this is the watercolor sampler. Oh, that's pretty. That's my favorite right there. Aren't those pretty? Gorgeous colors. That would be great with the mermaid font, doing a mermaid. Really pretty. Goes good with the flowers too. I do too, Belinda. They're very, very pretty. And oh so new, but look at the watercolor. Look at the pattern on that. I don't know if you guys can see that. But I mean, I can see through it a little bit. It's really, really pretty. The light doesn't catch it. Really pretty. I just wanted you guys to see that too. Hi, Barbara, Kathy's sister. I'm glad you could join us. I'm not going to be on camera tonight, guys. I apologize. My niece is getting married this weekend, or not this weekend, but this month. And so I am just slammed with projects. And because I'm slammed with projects, I was working right up until 15 minutes after 7. And I actually made myself a sandwich and ate it. And that's all I've had to eat today. That's how busy I was. So I did not have time to do makeup and hair. So I am not going to be on camera. I am very disheveled today. So on Wednesday, we went over doing the signs. And I had a little snafu because I didn't pat my transfer tape down to take some of the sticky off for what I was doing, and I should have. It's a step that I just didn't think about, I guess because I am so busy. And it happens. But I had already done this sign to show you guys what we were doing. And I prepped our other sign. And I told you guys that I was going to do this out of Cricut vinyl. the Cricut stencil material and the medium grid to see if it worked better. However, I cut it out of Oramask 813, and it's because I have 3, let me show you guys really quick. I'm doing several projects. I have all these projects going, and I cut this big one out of my Cricut stencil material, and then I accidentally, I don't know how I mirrored it, but anyway, I messed it up, and I didn't have enough Cricut stencil vinyl left, and I didn't have time to go to the store. So, because I have all this other product, but I'm going to tell you, I still like the stencil, the Cricut stencil material to work with better than I do the Oramask. The Oramask is easy to work with, but the Cricut stencil vinyl is easier to work with. So, but both of them work. And there's more than one way to do anything, and there are several products. Some people like to use contact paper. Personally, I don't like it. So, find what you like and cut your stencils from that. But if you haven't tried the Cricut stencil material, try it. Full price at your local hobby store is $6.99. It's not expensive, and if you use if they'll let you use a coupon on it. But if you buy it from Cricut using your access and group codes and discounts with the links that we provide, you're going to get up to 30% off of it. So, you know, it's not a bad price at all. But I went ahead and I put my stencil on, and I put my transfer tape with my transfer tape, and I didn't peel it because I wanted you guys to see it peel. So that's where we are, and this is where we're going to start. And everybody should be at this point if you're following along and have your sign prepped. Oh, thank you, Kathy. And Neela. Hey, Patricia. And all my moderators, Catherine, Sue, I don't know if Jamie's here. I thank you so much for your help and your assistance and helping everybody. Thank you so much. All my Patreon supporters, I thank you as well. And just a note to all you Patreons, we are going to have our Ask Me Anything private session on YouTube on the, I believe I said the 10th. This is the second Saturday in the month, whatever date that is, because my dates are all run together. Second Saturday of the month at 11 a.m. After that, they will be on the first Saturday of the month at 1 p.m. because that's what the majority voted on. So, but just this weekend, because I'm so slammed and whatever, I had to postpone it till next weekend. So, just a couple of notes. I told you I was going to show you how we did this on the dry brushing. And everybody's going to follow along on dry brushing because that's one of the easiest to do. And then I told you guys that I was going to do a pristine sign. This is the wedding sign that I'm working on. The cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. That's from Ecclesiastes 4:12 for my niece and her husband-to-be. I'm not going to complete it today, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it because I don't have the knobs that go on here and my cord yet. So, but I am going to seal it, and I'll go over that with you guys. And then I'm also going to paint this one, Live Simply. This is the round, smoother sign. This normally on the smoother ones, a lot of people like to do vinyl. This is the kind of sign you would do, but we're going to go over vinyl with that one as well. But I just wanted to tell you guys and show you because I cleaned out a closet and was looking for something, and I cleaned it out and I found this hidden. This is one of the signs where I wasn't paying attention to what I did. And this is how it came out. And what I did is I stained it, I let it dry, I sealed it, and I put my transfer on there to this point right here. I painted it and peeled my stencil off, and all my paint come off with it. And the reason being that it did that is because this sign was prepped for vinyl and not for paint. Because when you do vinyl, I'm just going over what we went over Wednesday. You're going to sand smooth as you can get it. You're going to stain it. Where do you get the wood things cheaper, Belinda? I get these on clearances, and I buy these pre-made signs like this. I buy them when they put them on clearance, when they put them on 50% off. This sign's about $7, but it's very smooth, and this one is also heavy, guys. This is not one of your inexpensive, lightweight pallet type signs. This is heavy wood. So $7 is not a big deal. I think full price they're like $15. It's not too bad. But once you've stained it and it's dried, and I stained this one with acrylic paints too. It was dark brown, and all I did was put blue and cream colored paints on it and wipe them off with a wet rag to give me that blue color. This was for a coordinate sign, or you can see the ship's wheel. But once it's done that, then you're going to seal it with your polyacrylic. I found my cans. This is the satin, which is what this sign was done with, and then you have the matte. Don't be fooled. Even if you get matte, there is still going to be a slight sheen. Okay? So if you want a completely rustic, no shine, nothing whatsoever sign, don't seal it. Okay? And that's for indoors. So just don't seal it like we're doing these. If you want that rustic look, you would not seal this because it's going to give it a slight sheen when I put this on there, even though it's matte. And I'm sorry I got off topic. So we've sanded. We've got all of our sanding dust off of it. We have stained it. We've sealed it. And now it's ready for vinyl. You put the vinyl on and it's done. But if it's sealed and you paint it, when you peel it, chances are you're going to lose your paint. That's what happened here. I just grabbed the wrong sign and put paint on one that was prepped for vinyl. Okay? Belinda, if you're buffering, you may have to log out and log in. Let me see it. It says I have a strong signal and the stream is good. I just got a buffering signal too, so it may be YouTube, guys, and not us. It is Friday, after all. So it may be YouTube. Maybe it'll straighten out here in a minute. Okay, so just make sure that when you prep correctly, okay? For paint, you want to sand, stain, paint, then seal. Okay? All right, so now we've got our transfer on there. Yeah, so my neighbors, I have some really kind of almost semi-wild teenagers that live next door, and my doggies like to bark at them. You kick your kids off YouTube at 8. That's good, Neil. But I'm just slowly peeling this and rocking it. And I don't know what I did with my backing for this. I thought I had it right here handy. Oh, there it is. I rolled it up. But I'm just gently going and see my peas are, the center of my peas are coming up. They don't want to stick because they're small. I'm just going to give them a rub. Looks like we're buffering again. There we go. There we go. I'm just going to give those a rub if they try to lift up. And when you put yours on your sign, just be mindful of the cracks and try to, you know, get most of your design on there. But it's going to be up to you how you want it to look. And I'm just gently peeling. I left a, where did it go? Oh, it ended up right there in the crack, so it's okay. I don't have to worry about it not sticking. It can't stick to air, right? I just noticed I had a piece of blue on my transfer tape and was wondering where it went. I've got 2 pieces. Where does that other one go? That one's there. Ah, there it is. And I'm just going to finish peeling that off. Yes. Excuse me, guys. Shh. You behave. Okay, I'm just going to save my transfer tape because I can use that 2 or 3 times. It won't stick really well back down, but it'll stick enough that I can roll it up and use it again. No need to waste it. Okay, so now this is almost ready to paint. I'm going to take a tennis ball and I'm not going to scrub, I'm just going to gently press down. Because you want a little bit of bleed on this, but you don't want it to run down the sides. So I just want to make sure that all of my edges are somewhat stuck down well enough for me to dab some paint. Because this is dry brushing. Okay? So the next thing you want to do is get your paper towels or whatever it is that you're using. And I am going to put on gloves, guys, because I have paint all over me still. And I've scrubbed my hands and scrubbed my hands. Actually, it's stained. And I just don't need it to be scrubbing. My fingers are sore from scrubbing them. So, we're going to start with the top and work down so that we're buffering again. We're going to work from the top down, if it will let me talk to you guys. And I'm just going to use the chip brush. Can you guys still hear me? Let me try one thing. I'm going to try something. I turn my TV off in the other room and see if that'll help. Okay, but you guys can hear me. You can't even hear me, Joanne? Joanne, you may need to go out and refresh if you can't hear me either. Hopefully it'll straighten out. I'm pretty sure it's YouTube. I don't have anything else running in the house, no TV, no nothing. So, but I'm just got a little bit of the black paint, and I'm going to dip my brush. I'm going to get some paint on the end of it because it was a clean brush, but I don't need all that paint, okay? So I have one of my old paint towels here, and I'm just going to brush all of that off. And then I'm just going to pounce up and down. See if I can get that in the camera for you guys. I'm just pouncing up and down on it. And if you don't feel like you've got enough paint, you can go over it again. You can dip it again, not take as much off, do 2 coats. I'm going to tell you, lighter is better, especially if you don't want a lot of bleeding, okay? Do several light coats instead of one heavy coat. But you can see, I mean, I just barely dipped it with a little bit of paint. And the paint goes a long way. You don't need a lot of heavy to get this to cover. It takes a little bit of work, but it's not difficult. This edge here that I have going, guys, I don't have any tape on that. So either tape that off, or be very careful when you're doing your sign that you don't bring your brush all the way over to that side and get paint on the edge of your sign. You can always cover it up with some more white paint. You can go back over it, but you don't want to have to redo your work if you don't have to. Just be careful where you're dabbing. And you can use, I just wanted to show you guys this brush. You can use, if you want it to be real, if you want it to bleed and be really rustic, you can water down your paint just a little bit. But this is my favorite, is a makeup sponge, and that's all this is. It's just a makeup wedge. Yes, Belinda, it is a stencil. Okay, so you can just do the same thing. And I just kind of dab it off on the stencil itself, and then just dab. Just with an up and down pouncing motion. And you'll use even less paint with this method. But you may have to do more coats. But this is my favorite, because I can see more of what I'm doing. Yeah, you can get all of this stuff from Dollar Tree. It's really inexpensive. And I'm using the little cheap 50-cent paints. I use all different brands. I use the Apple Barrel. What's the other one? You got Anita's. You have Deco Art. Just whatever is on sale. But usually I get them for less than $1. But I just have more control with a makeup sponge, and that's my favorite. Now, if I had the negative on here and didn't have all of this, this is my favorite, because I'm just going to dry brush over the entire sign and then peel off and expose the color under. But when I'm doing this type of stencil, like I said, this is my favorite. Always dab off before you dab on your letters. That way you'll have minimal bleeding. If you want a lot of bleeding, make sure you kind of water down your paint. Just a little, not much, just a tiny bit, and you'll get your bleed. And you can see how quickly this goes, guys. It's really fast. And it dries really fast. These acrylics dry, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And I'm not making sure that I get this section here covered like 100%. I kind of want it to look a little faded in some areas. So I'm not going very heavy. And I'm done with the black. And then I did mine with 3 colors of pink. I'm just going to put, I very rarely open the tops. I usually just screw the thing off of there. It's too hard to fight the plastic. I'm just going to dab some of these in each one of my cups. Just a little. You really don't need much. That's probably too much for that one. And just in case you weren't here Wednesday, let me give you the colors in case you want to be exact. This is Deco Art Carousel Pink, Deco Art Peony Pink, and Deco Art Razzleberry. And then I'm using the Deco Art Americanas Hauser Medium Green and Celery Green for my greens. But I'm going to do my flowers first, and I'll show you why, because I want to give them a minute to dry because I'm doing 3 colors. I'm going to start with the darkest. And I'm going to dab some off. And I'm trying to not get those leaves around these buds completely, because I'll just have to cover them up. But you can see how a little bit of paint is going to go a long, long way. Is everybody with me so far? Who is, Catherine, this is the Aura mask because I messed up and wasted my Cricut stencil because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I'm just getting the base of this dark because I want it darker than the rest of the flower. And I think I'm going to stop right there. You can use as little or as much as you want. I am not even going to change my sponge. I'm just going to knock off the extra paint. And I'm going to go to my medium color and dab it off. And I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of extra shading. I'm not dabbing over the complete place where I painted before. I'm just kind of blending, I guess you would call it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the lightest, but the lightest, I'm just going to dip the other end of my sponge. And just get some on the tips of the rose. And that's all I did for that. And now the green. And I did my dark green first. I'm going to give that a minute to dry. And you don't want to do your paint real heavy on a sign like this, guys, because this is kind of supposed to be like a romantic sign. And you kind of watercolory, if that makes any sense. And I want to be careful not to get on the edge here, so I'm just going to place my finger. I don't know if you guys can see, but this sign's kind of long. Hopefully you can see it. Right here at the edge, I'm just holding my finger while I dab so that it doesn't get on the end of the sign, because my stencil doesn't cover the whole end. And if you've got little errors or you get green where you don't want green on your flowers, just go back and dab them. And that's why I did them first, so that that first layer could have time to dry in case I messed up, so I could go back over them. And I'm just taking the corner of the makeup sponge on the skinny end and getting in those little places. I did, Sue. It's a little bit longer than my camera area is my issue. I'm trying to keep most of it in camera for you guys. Now I'm just going to dab up around that bud where I don't want to get into that black up there. It's really close with the way I set mine. If you guys are doing yours, don't set it as close as I did. There we go. And I'm just going to give it a little bit more shading in here. And then I'm just going to get a small dab of the green. I'm not even going to, the light green, I'm not even going to get another cup. I'm just going to put it right there in the middle. If it blends a little, that's fine. But I'm just getting a little bit of paint. And then I'm just going to dab it off. And then just dab some of the edge areas. And let me get rid of this so I don't get them on my sign. Hey Mo, I'm going to take my gloves off. Now guys, this part is preference. Some people like to peel while it's wet. Some people like to peel while it's dry. Me, I prefer dry because when you're peeling, if it's still wet, you can get it on your fingers and then get it on your sign. But I'm just going to peel the stencil off at this point. And it's still a little wet, so I'm just going to be careful. And if it's peeling up the white paint on your background, like this, hope you guys can see that. That's exactly what you want for this kind of sign. You don't want it to peel everywhere, but you do want some peeling. You do want some bleeding. You'll notice right here, I have some bleeding. That's normal. A lot of people get upset when they have those bleeds and stuff, but on a rustic sign, you want that. Anytime you have this lighter wood, this palette type wood, it's not as hard, it's not as dense, and you're going to have bleeding. no matter what you do. It's going to be there. And some people touch it up, some don't. I just leave most of mine. If it's a really bad bleed and it looks really bad, then I'll use a sanding stick and remove part of it. But for the most part, I just leave them. And I'm just pulling out the little bits and pieces here that were left behind, because the stencil, this Oramax, does tear very easily. Very easily. And that's why I said I really liked working with the Cricut stencil vinyl. But this basically, guys, it's dry. That's how quick it dries. And you saw, we haven't hardly been doing the sign but a few minutes. These dry signs are the easiest and the quickest. So at this point, after you peel all of your stencil away and you're happy with it, you can leave it as it is, put your hanger on it, and you're ready to go. Or you can seal it. But myself, I kind of like these bleeds, but I don't like the crispness of some of the letters. They're just a little too crisp. So I'm going to do exactly what I did with the other one, and we're going to sand on it just slightly. I did make the pattern, Belinda, and I shared it in the show more section of the video. Is the link, the Design Space link to this portion, Love Builds a Happy Home, and the scroll bar and the stamp. The rose, however, was an uploaded image. It's an SVG, and if you go to craftingwithapril.co, there's a link also telling you that you can get this SVG file off my site. It's public. Anybody can get it. So then you're just going to take a piece of gram paper, and this is 60 grit. This is a $1 pack from the Dollar Tree. So that's what I use on this. And I'm just going to take and go over it. Sanding some places more than others. I left a piece of vinyl there. And a piece there. You'll reveal all the places you left a little tiny sliver. And then, of course, you want to dust it off. And guys, you're done. If you want to seal it at this point, you would seal it. So that is all there is to that sign, guys. That's it. And you saw we prepped it in, what, 5 minutes on Wednesday? Prepping it was nothing. We just painted it white and left it to where the wood would shine through. And then we put another color on top to kind of give it that antique color. And we did this today and we're done. Very easy, very cute. Now, let me wipe some of this dust away. Let me get rid of that cup because I probably got dust in it. I was going to reuse it, but again, if you want to seal, guys, use the water-based stuff, polyacrylic. Okay? This is what you want. Now, to do the pristine signs. This sign I prepped exactly like I prepped the other one, with the exception I sanded it. So I sanded it really well. And I've put my stencil on it. And then I am just going to, I used like I think it was acorn colored stain on here. And I need some more makeup sponges. So I'm just going to start at the top because I know that I'm probably going to have to do more than one coat on this because I'm using a gold. Your metallics sometimes don't cover as well, okay? So I'm going to get it quite a bit in there. And you can see I use the big bottles. This is Anita's all-purpose. But the metallics, I use a lot of the metallics. And I'm just dipping it in there. And I don't really even need a paper towel for this. I'm just going to dab off the excess. And then I'm going to start dabbing. A very thin coat. The metallics do take more coats. But this is for your pristine signs. This is the way you want to do it. All I have done is stained this board, sanded it and stained it, and let it dry overnight. Okay? And I did take the tennis ball to this earlier and make sure that it was all pressed down. Does anybody have any questions while I'm doing this? Because this is going to take me a few minutes. It won't take long, but it will take me a few minutes. On dry brushing the other sign, any questions? Design space questions, other project questions, guys. This is your time to ask questions and get answers before you start your weekend projects. So you're not sitting around waiting for an answer if something's not going correctly. You're not getting, it's showing that it's got a good connection on YouTube. I can only guess that it would be internet issues. Hey, Lavada, or Lavada. I think it's Lavada. I think I said it right. But basically, that's all I'm doing. I'm going to give that a second to dry, okay? While that's drying, I am going to do my other metallic down here at the bottom, and I'm hoping I can get this in the camera for you guys. It's almost there. Let me see. There, I can get my Cricut back a little bit more. And my stencil is bubbling up over here, and that's okay. I don't care. I'm not painting over there, so it doesn't matter. And now I'm using a metallic silver. And the same thing. I'm just going to knock some off over here and dab the rings. On this kind of sign, you don't want any bleeding, so the thinner you can do your coat and more coats, the better off you're going to be, okay? Just take your time and do several thin coats. I don't layer my iron-on, Mo. I don't like the bulk that it gives it. I slice kind of like a knockout and put it together. To me, it's just if you're doing two layers is okay, but if you're going to do up 3 layers, I don't like the bulk. It makes the shirt heavy, and when you're wearing it, it doesn't breathe very well. Because the plastic is so, because that's what it is, it's iron-on, it's a plastic, and it just gets so thick. And another tip, guys, if you're doing a sign like this, if your sign is painted and not stained, if this sign was painted gold and I was putting stuff on it, I would do this, what I'm doing right now, in the same exact color as my sign to minimize any bleeding. That's just a trick. So if your sign, like I said, if my sign was painted black and I was putting white letters on it, I would do my stencil in a coat of black around all my edges. And that way, if it bleeds, it's going to bleed the same color as the background and it's not going to be seen. It's going to kind of help seal those edges up. So that's just a little tip if you're working on a painted sign instead of a stained sign. Yes, Chris, just make it cut, slice it out and make it cut the colors that you want. That way you have one single layer of vinyl and it looks layered. Okay, now I'm going to give that a second to dry, and I know that I have see-through spots, but basically I wanted to seal it to keep it from bleeding, and then I'm going to actually do a paint layer over that. And then I'm just going to come back down here to the silver part and paint it again. And while those are drying, I'm going to start my black. Just be careful that you don't smear your paints. This bottle's almost empty. And I didn't put on my gloves, and now I have paint all over me. What, the one thing I was trying to avoid? The girl doing my nails tomorrow will be greatly appreciative, I'm sure. Okay. And then I'm doing all the words here in black. And my sign is rocking because I have the edge of it on the computer stand so you guys can see. Yes, the bright pad, guys. Use the group link and get yourself a bright pad. It's on sale, $59.99, and that's before your 10% access. If you have Circle, another 10%. And I think you'll have to pay shipping on that because you can't use the group code on the bright pad unless you order some other stuff. Anything over $99, Mystery March is the free shipping code. And I'm just doing the same thing on the base with the names, guys. So if you guys can't see that, I'm going to leave the sign where it's at so it doesn't rock with me anymore, and just dab their names in the black paint too. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a mystery box for March. They haven't told me yet, so I don't really know. But they usually do one every month. And it's, if Vada or Levada, I can't remember. I know you told me. If you're registered on craftingwithapril.com, if you put in a signed up for mystery box notifications, you'll get an email too. And now I'm just, same thing I did with the other sign. I'm just knocking off some of the paint, guys, on a paper towel. And I'm just going to give this a brush to get a more even coat. And then I'm going to dab. And I just gave myself a bleed, I'm pretty sure, but I'll sand it off. That's okay. If you don't have sanding sticks, I would invest in those if you're going to do a lot of signs, but you can use a piece of folded up sandpaper too. The sanding sticks are just make it easier to get into the tight spots. I'm going to give that a second to dry. And I'm going to dab my silver down here again. And you'll think that you're not getting a good coverage, guys, but you're getting a better coverage than you think you are. Trust me. And I'm just going over one small thin coat on the black areas one more time. So I have two thin coats. And like I said, the metallics, they do take more paint to get good coverage. So I'm going to do my last pouncing on that. I know I've got an area right there I'm going to have to fix, but it's very rare that they all come out pristine and like you want. There's always some kind of touch-up to do. So just keep that in mind when you're doing them. There's no need to get upset about it. You're going to have to touch something up, most likely. If you don't, you just got really, 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 really lucky. Okay. That looks pretty good. And I'm just going to set these to the side for now. You feel like you need everything before you can start? Yeah, well, it's good to have everything that you want to start with. I'm just going to give this a second to dry and we'll go over. These are sanding sticks, okay? You can get these on Amazon.com. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. But they come in different grits. The set, you get the 80, the 120, and the 240. And it just has a sandpaper strip all the way around it so that you can just pull it and get a fresh area of the stick for your sign. And it helps getting in those tight areas and sanding where you might have a bleed without destroying your whole sign. And then if you even mess up the stain, you can take a Q-tip and touch up the stain rather than sanding a big area and having to start over. But usually they come with, look at all those strips. I bought the strips and I bought the sanding sticks. I do a lot of signs. I haven't gone through these yet. I haven't had to replace one. So, but a sanding stick is perfect for getting in those areas and fixing that. But let me, let's see if that's the, they are actually called sanding detailers. But if you type in sanding sticks, you'll find it on Amazon. Yeah, it takes a little bit when you're doing signs. It's not really expensive because, I mean, I still have probably half a can of this satin, and I've done a bunch of signs, guys, and probably 3/4 of a can on the mat. So, and they're about, these are, if you go to your home improvement store, I think they're $14, but they're going to last you a long, long, long time. If you use the inexpensive paints, this big paint is $3.47, and if you use your coupon on it and buy one here, buy one there using your coupon when you're buying sales items and you can't use it on something like this and build up your stash. But I just use the little 50-cent paints, and I don't use any expensive paints at all. I have some chalk paint that I got it like Tuesday morning. I'm just wiping off some of this excess so when I peel I don't get it everywhere. But I buy the chalk paints and stuff like that when they're on sale or on clearance somewhere. Yes, you can, but did you know you can make your own chalk paint? If you go on Lowe's and type in Lowe's chalk paint, they give you the formula to make your chalk paint. And if you buy their Oops paints, they're called Oops, just ask them. They have like samples and stuff, even samples. I used to work in the paint department. And they'll mark those down to $1 or 50 cents. They want to get rid of them. They don't want it taking up space. You can even buy gallons for $5. So, I mean, but you're buying it at the color that it is. You know, they're not going to retint it. You can't be picky. It's the color that it is. But plaster of Paris, water, and your latex paint, and boom, you got chalk paint. And like I said, the recipe, the exact recipe for measurements and all is on the Lowe's website. So, I mean, I'm not going to pay $14 for some chalk paint that I can take just a couple of, because I don't need much, maybe a tablespoon or two. The recipe I believe they give you is enough to do a dresser, I believe. But you'll have to figure out how much paint you need and mix it accordingly because you're not supposed to store it because of the plaster of Paris. But it still has the same effect as your expensive Valspar chalk paint, and I think it's like $20 a can. So you can, I buy $2 samples like this. You can make chalk paint out of these. If you want your own color, just get a get a chalk paint, a sample, and make your chalk paint out of that. You do need to wax your chalk paint if you're doing furniture. And this stuff is expensive. It's like $11.99 for a jar of the cream wax. But if you buy it on clearance, I paid 39 cents for this jar. It may not be the perfect color or what I wanted, but I mean, I've used it a lot. I've made all my kitchen signs that you guys see me post. I use this right here to stain it. Because it's a stain and a wax and all that all in one. Well, I didn't get a bleed, but I am slightly off on my, I don't know how my stencil is straight at the bottom and crooked at the top, but I'm living with it. I'm not going to redo this sign over that. I'll put a flower on the other side and hide it. I'll do something on this side so it won't be noticeable. But all you're going to do, and like I said, it's preference, peel wet or peel dry. Totally up to you. Just peel carefully, don't gouge your wood. But this one will be sealed. It's not going to be like the other one. This one will be sealed with polyacrylic. I'm not going to do that on camera tonight. It's basically just putting a clear coat over it. And you guys know how to do that, I'm sure. You're just going to paint the whole board with clear coat or polyacrylic. But you can see it came out pretty crisp, pretty clear. Doesn't look like I'm going to have to sand anything. Even where I pulled my stencil up, I think I can just barely touch that edge with some sandpaper and it's going to be fine. Are you back, Alice? Okay. Well, we're about to do winter chicken dinner. So I'm going to wait and give it a minute and see if it comes back. Yours is out too, and it's showing me that it's good on YouTube. You too, Catherine? Let me see. I don't know if I lose you guys, I will try to come right back. Let's see. No, you're not the only one. I've got a black screen too now. All right, guys, I'm sorry. Something's going on here with YouTube. Let me Are we back, guys? Yay! I'm sorry about that. I think that was YouTube. I don't think it was us. Because all of a sudden mine went black too. It happened to all of us at the same time, so I think it was YouTube and not us. I'm getting a buffering thing again. Hopefully it'll hold out while we finish this. Anyway, I'm going to finish doing this while we play Winner Winner Chicken Dinner because all I have to do is just pick these off. And then this sign will be sealed and it's finished. And that's all you have to do for these and put a hanger on them. And I will show a photo in the groups to let you guys see how that this came out so that you will, because I still have to get my knobs, my rope, everything. So I'll post a sign of it without that and then with it as well in the groups. So let me switch over here, get off the project camera. Maybe it will help us. We'll see. Let me pop my chat out so I can see really quick. And let's see. Okay. These are the files that I was working out of. Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. Is everybody ready to play Winner Winner Chicken Dinner? And our winner gets the Cricut pen, the $1 Million bar, the Live Love Sparkle bracelet, and the Let It Go Disney die. So, is it still buffering, Catherine? I was hoping that it wouldn't do that through Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. I'm sorry, Joanne. It'll be on the playback. It was YouTube because I got a black screen too. We all got it at the same time. But anyway, on Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, I'm going to do a countdown, and the first correct answer will win. And the question is, true or false? I can use petroleum-based or oil-based products and stains and then seal it with my polyacrylic for outdoor use. Way to go, Joanne! Correct. Joanne Allard is our winner. Joanne, are you a Patreon? If you are, I already have your address. If I don't, if you will go to craftingwithapril.co, not .com, but .co, and use the contact me form and send me your address, I will get your prize out to you. So, but if you're a Patreon, I already have it. So if you entered it in, if not, just send it to me and I'll get it. And get that out to you. I am just about finished picking this sign, and I did nick one little place I have to touch up with a Q-tip on my stain. It happens. The first time I did it and got a sign, I got really upset about it. Let me swap back over so you guys can see now that we've finished Chicken Dinner. Chicken Winner. I can't even talk now. Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. We finished that, so let me transition over. And right there, I kind of nicked the stain. I'm just going to take a Q-tip, and then I have another one. I don't know what it is about my Y's and L's, but I have a couple of them, and I'm just going to dab it with a little bit of stain on a Q-tip and fix that. But the rest of it's looking really good. And again, if you guys want to do vinyl instead of paint, seal with your polyacrylic, then put your vinyl on after you've stained. After you've stained, seal it with your polyacrylic and then put your vinyl on. And then you're done with vinyl. It's the same exact steps, except you're going to vinyl after sealing and paint before sealing. Yes, you are. Everybody's my chicks. I like that, Mo. But I do have a couple of little dings where I dinged with my tool getting my vinyl off because I wasn't careful enough. But that basically will finish that sign. I just have to touch it up and seal it. Okay? Very easy to do, guys. So don't feel intimidated about doing signs. Did you guys want to watch me do this one as well? If you'll notice, this area is darker on there. When I did my stencil, I tore it. And so I just took it out and I just went back and I just cut this one little section and overlaid it so that right there where my vinyl is missing, I could still paint it without having to recut the entire stencil. So if that happens to you, just cut the affected area, and after you place your stencil, place it on there to correct it. Because, I mean, if it wasn't for that dark blue spot right there, you wouldn't know that I corrected that stencil at all. It wouldn't show. Let's see. What color should I do these flowers in, guys? 2 colors. This is a gray stain, like a washed weathered stain. I'm going to do the Live Simply in antique white. So somebody pick a color. Red. I have red, pink, ooh, lavender and light blue. That sounds good too. Okay. I haven't done those colors in a while. Let me see if I have those colors. I'm just dabbing some paint. Again, guys, if you wanted to do vinyl on this instead of paint, you need to seal it and then come in and paint. Then come in and add your vinyl. But we're going to paint and then seal. And guess what? Joanne, you're going to get this sign as part of Winter Chicken Dinner. I've got something stuck there. My vinyl, the P on my vinyl didn't. That's okay. I can fix it. I'm just going to dab over. I know how to fix that. That was, I guess when I did my tennis ball over it, it kind of picked up the center of my P and removed it or folded it over or something. Joanne, what colors did you want the flowers? That's a good idea, Gina, since she's going to win the sign. Let her choose a color. It's a gray weathered sign, and we're doing antique white lettering. And if anybody wants to know, this is the free font of the week. I believe it was from Font Bundles, the Blossom Asylum. And I believe that it is still free. If you guys want it, go check it out. Font Bundles, we have a group link for that as well. Is Joanne still with us? Is anybody still with me? It shows that we're still live. You're here? Okay. I don't see Joanne, so I'm going to kind of go with it here and mix up a couple of colors. I'm just mixing this on the freezer paper that I put down. And I'm just going to use a chopstick to stir it with. See if I can make a purple. I don't know. It's kind of a weird looking color. Sometimes they blend and sometimes they don't. Oh, I'm so glad I got freezer paper down there because I just made a big mess. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I mean, that one just poured out. Put a paper towel over it. Start over. Use a cup. It was really thin. I must have watered that down for a bleed effect. Didn't mark it. Oh, it's turning purple. The first one was kind of a gunky, I don't know, brown, but I used a different blue too. It's like a dark purple. Right. Let me see. Paint mixing. And this is just trial and error, guys. I'm trying to get a light purple without it looking gray. Purples are tough when you're mixing. It looks good. We're getting there. I think maybe a little more blue in there. What do you guys think? Two shades? We're going to go with it. Good thing about it, if Joanne doesn't like it, she can always paint over the whole thing and change it up. It's that easy. I think I'll do the light in the middle. But these signs, guys, they go really quick. The longest part is weeding and placing the stencil. That's the hardest part of these. And we're done. You really do? I'm glad. I hope everybody is enjoying it and getting something out of it. I like for us to be able to take our time and not have to rush. Got a little bit of paint right there on that. I'll sand it off. But I really enjoy it because we can take our time and make sure everything is answered and everybody understands, and not have to worry about. We can chat about anything, guys. You don't have to stay on topic or anything of that effect. Ooh, I really like that purple because I just wanted a slight shading effect. It's really pretty. That's a good idea. I have paints everywhere. I don't want to set the sign down and paint. I'm just peeling the stencil up. And I am peeling wet, so you want to be careful if you're peeling wet. I wish Joanne was here. I really would like to know if that was supposed to be purple. I overstepped on my. Let's use the clean end of this time and see if I can't fix that. I'm just marking a place where that piece of vinyl was missing. And this is where your sanding stick can come in, guys. And I'm just going to sand right there in that center. And just so you guys can see what I mean by a touch-up on the stain. Let's see. Let me grab my stain here and make sure I get the right one. And I'm just going to dab a little place right there. That is Deep Ocean Charcoal Gray. There we go. And you can use a Q-tip for this, guys, like I said, or whatever you have, a small paintbrush. I'm just going to basically just dab and touch up that little area right there and there where I messed up the stain. I'm just going to use the lid. And it's done. That's all there is to it. I can seal this, but I would seal it, but she may want to paint over it, put something else on it. So I'm just going to send it to her like it is. But that is all there is to doing one of these signs. Got one little place right there too, don't I? I just have some gray stain on this brush, guys. I'm just rubbing it in right there. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, thank you. But I always use makeup sponges, guys. I use water-based cleanup. I won't. I have my neighbor's boys are going nuts again. I apologize. But I like water-based. I don't like cleanup on paint. I hate it. I don't know if that comes from working at Lowe's. But anytime you can use water-based is the way to go. Because I just throw all this in the trash and I'm done. Freezer paper and all. See that big glob of red I spilled? Glad I had freezer paper down. Doesn't go through. Alright guys, and Wednesday, I have stuff all over my hands. Let me put on my gloves so I don't mess it up. We're going to do that card that everybody wants to do Wednesday. The tie the knot card. But we're not going to do it as a tie the knot because that takes a lot of time. And since I have paint all over my hands, I know I did this backwards. I should have done gloves and not got paint on my hands, but I didn't. Sometimes I just like the feel of the paint too. But this card is the one that we're going to do Wednesday, and it's a twisted base. I glued this one down. Bonnie helped me test this. She's my tester. She did one, and on this one it's a wedding card. So I glued these flaps down, but normally they're not glued, and you just pull these apart and it will unfold a square card for you. But this one I did differently, and the knot is loose as you can see right there, but as they open it up it ties the knot and it says congratulations on tying the knot, Kaylin and Austin. And I put the G that I cut out on the front, and then when I'm just going to close it back up, I'm just going to loosen this thread back out so that when they open it, it still lets them tie it. And if you use a silk cord, you can do that. But if you use something other than that, it's probably going to stay tied. But the silk, these won't stay tied very well. And that's why I chose that material. But we're going to make this, and I will go over how to do tie the knot, but we're just going to make a regular card on Wednesday, okay? Thanks, Bonnie. Okay, does anybody have any more questions? It's going to be at 7:30. We do 7:30 on Wednesdays and 7:30 on Fridays, Belinda. No, Bonnie lives in Chattanooga. And I live in Hampton. But we always do 7:30. On Wednesdays, sometimes we'll do a short, quick project, but mainly it's going to be, I put the file, Mo, on that project, I believe. The file is on there on the video that I did. If you look, there's a twisted base video and the file is on there. Just go ahead and cut your panels. If you don't want to do tie the knot, you'll need to contour. Watch the video. I tell you to contour and hide the holes. So, but it'll tell you exactly how to cut it. Okay, I know where Mableton is. My aunt used to live in Mableton. And, yeah, McDonald's right down the street. My aunt and uncle live in Douglasville now, so. But yeah, Mableton, I know where that's at. Not too far away. Maybe we can meet and have coffee one day. You're so close. Belinda, you're here too? Great. Where are you at, Belinda? Monroe? I know where Monroe is. Down there close to, what is that state park down there? Hard Labor Creek. Right. Nova Scotia. Oh yeah, Fort Yargo. But yeah, we're going to put that together Wednesday. But as I was saying, Wednesdays we talk about whatever, guys, anytime, Wednesdays or Fridays, doesn't matter. Fridays is mainly just a project, and it's usually a project that takes more than an hour, or right about an hour. On Wednesdays, if we can do a project that takes 15-20 minutes, we'll do a project, but it's mainly for solving any design space issues or teaching you how to use design space or how to do something in design space. But we will answer those design space questions anytime, even during the week on Facebook. So, okay, guys, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's tutorial on sign painting. If you have any questions or you forget, don't forget that the instructions are in the group files in Cricut Maker Projects and in Cricut Crafting. So you have two sources to find those if you need them. If you have any other questions, just ask away and we'll be happy to help you. All right, Belinda, I hope so. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you, moderators. Thank you for all my Patreon supporters. I greatly appreciate you all. You guys have a nice evening.